Mr. Leisman, what do you really expect? Not just the number, but what do you think Mr. Powell is going to say?
I think that to understand what Powell's going to say, you only have to spend 3 minutes and reread his very short and pointed speech from Jackson Hole. That is, rates are going to go up. They're going to stay there for a time, that there's going to be pain in the economy, and that pain is necessary to vanquish inflation from the economy. The market right now is priced for a 4.5% peak funds rate. I think that may be a little higher than the Fed is thinking right now, although the Fed, I think, has flexibility to go higher if it needs it. I think what the Fed is thinking is this idea of somewhere around 4% before they stop and look around, but they may go higher than that. Right now, our Fed survey has 4.25. The market has 4.5. I think 4 is a place where the Fed might give the rate hikes some time to see how they work. But I don't think that he's going to let on about that.
Rick, you agree? And if he's right, what do you think the markets think?
Well, first of all, real quick, so viewers and listeners understand, the reason Steve's picking a 4.5% terminal rate is because if you follow all the Fed fund futures contracts, what you'll find is that price keeps going down until you hit May. April's the last contract of 23 that goes down in price. Then they start to go back up. And April just made a new contract low at 95.49.5. 100 minus that gives you basically your 4.5%. Now, here's my comment. Does the Fed really know where the terminal rate is? No. Does the Fed have any idea where inflation's going to be in 2 years? No. Does anybody around the globe have any idea where inflation's going to be in the next 2 years? Yes. Okay? Europe, Asia, China, and probably most people in California, they're going to know the biggest driver in inflation that's going to outlast all the stuff that was COVID sort of related is going to be energy. Think about it. Pre-COVID, 2% inflation as far as the eye could see. Okay? Post-COVID, wow, we have all these problems because it's based on what we did to address COVID. It's so easy. It didn't pop up. Inflation isn't organic and growing, so we should be able to control it. The problem is that while we are all off on a different axis, the new policies are even worse than the policies we enacted during COVID. So I just don't see how the Fed can fix any of this. It's not fixable. Will it be a soft landing? I think so, because the globe's going to go into a recession. That's my pretty much say on what's going to happen today.
Jump into this. I'm curious your reaction both now to two sides. It's not even. I think Rick and Steve are actually relatively close on this. They just have sort of come at it in a different way.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I don't think I'm going to be able to be as animated as Rick was. I mean, I think what Steve said was critical. The market's pricing 4.5. The Fed's not probably going to get there in terms of their median dots. We actually, as a baseline house view, are below where the market is pricing. But a key point is going to be Powell's message has been consistent here. I completely agree with Steve that his Jackson Hole speech was short, sweet, to the point. The economy has to slow if durable inflation, as Rick said, if inflation 2 years from now is going to be below where it is now, no two ways about it, the economy has to slow down, and that's what they're aiming for. And he's going to stick to that message. The notion that there'll be pain in the economy from that slowing actually goes back to some of Chair Powell's testimony months ago in Congress. And so I think he's been trying to be as consistent as possible and as humble as possible. They don't know just how far they're going to have to go.
Seth, it may be short-term thinking, but if it's 100 basis points today, how does the market react? Does the market say that's good because it's getting something out of the way? Does that say, oh, my goodness, this is actually going to be much harsher than we thought?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the market is pricing in some probability of 100. I think it would, though, be generally a surprise, and it would resonate to at least the clients that I talk to, that the Fed is giving up on any sort of near-term slowing in the economy. So I think it would lead people to believe that even more hiking is in the offing in the near term. I think what will be interesting then is the inference might also be, gosh, they're also giving up on the soft landing. They're just hiking so much to break the back of the economy in order to bring down inflation. And so what happens in the front end of the curve could well be different in the long end.